Bonjour et bienvenue à tous et à toutes. Thank you everyone for joining us here today. Merci infiniment d'être avec nous pour célébrer notre secteur et les personnes qui le font rayonner. Mon nom est Fonta Diaby et je suis agente de liaison pour les services aux membres ici à Coopération Canada. Et pour ce soir, je serai votre MC. So before we start, I'm hoping you're all familiar with simultaneous interpretation on Zoom, or else you might not have understood anything I just said. So please do click on the globe button below your screen to choose English or French, and then you can follow our whole ceremony in the language of your choice. Avant de commencer, je vous invite à sélectionner la langue que vous préférez entre le français et l'anglais en cliquant sur l'icône globe au bas de votre écran et aussi profiter de la traduction simultanée. Donc, je vais juste vous donner une minute pour le faire, comme ça. Vous pouvez nous suivre dans votre langue de choix. OK. Et donc, nous espérons aussi que vous vous êtes parés de vos plus beaux atours en cette belle fin d'après-midi. Bon, il est en train de pleuvoir ici à Ottawa, mais j'espère que quand même, il y en a des personnes qui ont un peu de soleil. Et je vous invite du même coup à vous préparer rapidement un petit breuvage pétillant pour qu'on puisse toaster ensemble à la toute fin de la cérémonie. So I invite all of you to grab a glass of something to drink for us to toast together at the end of the ceremony. I myself will be having some hibiscus juice that I have right here. So I do encourage all of you to get your drinks ready. And once your glass is ready, we do ask that you do stay on mute, but we encourage you to keep your camera open during the whole ceremony so that we can let the awardees of tonight see your beaming faces. We also encourage you to use reaction emojis in Zoom as well as the chat function as much as you can. Et une dernière chose, vous allez voir dans notre présentation des photos et illustrations qui ont été choisies par les gagnants pour illustrer leur travail. Si vous voulez en savoir un peu plus sur le contexte de ces photos et les personnes qui y figurent, nous vous encourageons donc à prendre contact avec nous après la cérémonie. So, without further ado, I would like now to introduce our amazing CEO, Kate Higgins, who will be offering some opening words. Kate, over to you.
Merci, Fanta. Bonjour, c'est vraiment un plaisir d'être avec vous aujourd'hui pour la cérémonie des remises des prix Coopération Canada, en collaboration avec EUMC et le fonds Lewis Perinbam. J'aimerais rendre hommage et exprimer ma gratitude au peuple algonquin Anishinaabe, gardien des terres non cédées, d'où je vous rejoins aujourd'hui. C'est un immense privilège de vivre, de jouer et de travailler sur ce territoire. Dans notre cheminement vers la réconciliation, je vous encourage à considérer le territoire sur lequel vous résidez et à remercier les peuples autochtones qui ont toujours pris soin du territoire et où vous habitez et travaillez maintenant. Je vous encourage à partager votre gratitude dans le chat sur Zoom. J'aimerais également souligner que nous nous réunissons pendant le mois de l'histoire des Noirs et reconnaître le tort que les pratiques coloniales, racistes et oppressives ont causé dans le monde entier au nom du développement, y compris dans le travail de la société civile. Ceux et celles d'entre nous qui s'engagent dans la coopération internationale et l'aide humanitaire doivent entamer une profonde réflexion, évoluer dès maintenant dans leur pratique et prendre des mesures concrètes pour faire mieux. As you all know, this week is International Development Week. This is an opportunity for us to shine a light on Canadian contributions to eradicating poverty, to tackling inequity, and to supporting rights, peace, and prosperity around the world. Cooperation Canada members, including so many of you here today, have been working from coast to coast to coast this week to engage thousands of people across the country. I know that you've been in schools, in universities, in libraries, at farmers markets, indoor, at sporting games, and with parliamentarians on Parliament Hill here in Ottawa, talking about the life-saving and life-changing difference that Canadian international cooperation and humanitarian assistance is having around the world. Today, we are here to celebrate those who are taking impact and innovation to the next level. I am so thrilled to be sharing this space with you all today to hold up amazing and inspiring examples of excellence in international cooperation. I really look forward to learning more about the awardees soon, and as Fanta said, to raising a glass to them. On behalf of everyone at Coopération Canada, thank you all so much for joining us today and for your commitment to cooperation as we work together for a fairer, safer, and more sustainable world. It really is a privilege to collaborate and work alongside all of you. Thank you so much, and back to you, Fanta.
Thank you, Kate, for those words. And now we will be moving on for the keynote address of our ceremony. And I would like you all to join me in please welcoming to our virtual stage the Minister for International Development, the Honorable Harjit Sajjan.
Great, thank you so much, everyone. Just get set up here. Bonjour tout le monde. Let me begin by acknowledging that I'm joining you from Ottawa, from the traditional unceded territory of the Algonquin and Anishinaabe people. And I would like to thank our host, Coopération Canada, for bringing everyone together today in the spirit of partnership and celebration. And I think I can speak on all of us when I say how much we value Coopération Canada as a convener, an educator, and trusted collaborator. And Kate, I want to thank your team's efforts to help so many in our sector become better informed and connected and involved. And as you know, International Development Week is a time to reflect on the incredible difference that development assistance makes for families and communities around the world. Now, it's a chance to highlight the innovative and exciting ways that Canadians can go for the goals and advance our SDGs. And what better way to do that than by celebrating some of the distinguished achievements of today's award nominees. Now, your work has ensured that children in conflict settings can continue their education. Your work has advanced women's and girls' human rights and promoted access to justice. You have engaged with youth and helped them build new skills and interests. You work with local partners to produce radio programs that offer farmers useful information to boost incomes and also food security. You delivered emergency kits to people affected by disasters, and you exemplified diversity, inclusion in your programming, and by empowering people and investing in locally led projects. So I want to offer my congratulations and my sincere thanks for everything that you do. As everyone watching today well knows, this work is not easy, but your passion, dedication, and sense of purpose are helping to ensure a healthier, more equitable, and more inclusive future for everyone. And as I see it, today's award nominees stand out in a crowded field. There is so much wonderful work happening in Canadian international development organizations. And I'm so proud to be a strong voice for this sector and also to be a champion, an advocate. Plus, I love to share stories about what I also see. And I wish all Canadians had a better appreciation for the countless ways that your work supports global food security, climate action, health, education, and especially gender equality. Now, that is why today I'm also very happy to announce $17.4 million in funding to extend the Inspiring Action for Global Citizenship program. Now, through this program, the 8 members of the Inter-Council Network will build bridges between the local and global, raising awareness about the international development issues in communities across the country. I'm also announcing a $6 million contribution for the International Development Education Awareness Project with Aga Khan Foundation. And through school and youth group programs, this project sparks young Canadians' interest in development priorities like eradicating poverty and promoting gender equality. So by raising awareness and promoting action, both of these projects have powerful ripple effects, because the more Canadians can understand international development and find ways to get involved, the richer our work and our communities will be. Now, I know that we have hundreds of development partners online today from coast to coast to coast. So I'd like to take the opportunity to zero in on how we work together for a little while. Now, it has been undeniably a challenging few years across the international assistance sector. COVID-19, the climate crisis, emergencies, and increasing conflict and displacement have ramped up needs and raised the stakes. Partners and governments have stepped up in new ways to become more agile and more flexible in our approach. And we have learned a lot as well. So by working together, greater localization is top of mind for me. And as I know it's the same for all of you. And we all want to continue to make progress and ensure that the projects we support are driven by local experiences, needs, and priorities, and that we are taking every opportunity to amplify the voices of people with lived experience, especially women and girls and other marginalized groups. Now, it is clear to me that we are at a pivotal moment, one that challenges us to improve how we work behind the scenes so that we can be more efficient, effective, and responsive in programs and partnerships. To do that, we need to rethink how we support the work we do through our international finance and project system. And over the next 5 years, Global Affairs Canada is on a mission to streamline how we oversee the over $5 billion in grants and contributions that we manage every single year. And we want to minimize the administrative burdens. We also want to improve risk assessments, and let's commit to making performance data more timely and easier to share. And we have heard from all of you that change is needed, and we are listening and ready to act. But to build the more integrated, user-friendly, tech-savvy system, we all want to see, that we're going to be ready to help all of you. So I cannot stress the value of your collaboration. We need your insight, your ideas, to make sure that we do get this right. And I should also acknowledge that this is a multiple year commitment. And some aspects, will seem like a marathon because we need to get it right. But other things, we're going to move very quickly. So we're going to sprint to get those things done. We will need to work within legislative and regulatory frameworks. And we know that Canadians deserve accountability. So we need to do our due diligence to get everything right. But there are some things that we can change right away. So I'm pleased to kickstart this process by sharing that from today forward, we'll always use the concept notes as the first step of the unsolicited proposal process. We have been piloting this idea, and we have heard from all of you that by starting with a simple concept note instead of a very lengthy preliminary proposal, we will have all that will save time on time and also resources, especially for smaller partners. So consider this done. And I will also commit, starting today, to a faster and more consistent turnaround time for the department to respond to unsolicited proposals within 2 months. And I'm hoping that we will continue to cut down on that time frame even further. The other pieces that starts right away is a new grants and contribution transformation partner group. We want to design this new system with you, not impose it on you. We need to collaborate with you to make sure that we get this right. This interactive group will meet quarterly, and we will be open to partners of all sizes and mandates in Canada and also abroad. We know your time is precious, and we do not want to create a burdensome commitment. What we want to do is create a useful and sounding board and try different approaches, test the new system features as we go forward, work on challenges and solutions together. Your feedback will be critical to help us build a new and improved partner portal that's easy to use, more transparent, and helps with effective two-way communication and reporting. Now, in the coming weeks, Global Affairs Canada will also begin work on a new sandbox to help us experiment with speeding up the funding application and proposal assessment processes for smaller Canadian local partners. So stay tuned for more on the sandbox later this spring. So what does all this add up to? Ultimately, it means a much more collaborative relationship with our partners. And it means embracing an approach that helps organizations, large and small, work with us more often and more effectively. And I'm excited about the changes that are underway, that this transformation is for you. just as much it is for all of us. Now, please bring your ideas, your creativity, and I look forward to working with every single one of you in partnerships. And together we can build a stronger system that helps meet the development challenges of today and into the future. Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le ministre. C'est vraiment un plaisir de vous avoir ici aujourd'hui parmi nous et de vous recevoir. Et je pense que je peux dire que pour nous tous, c'est très encourageant d'entendre ces annonces. Je suis sûre que nous en saurons plus sur les nouveaux projets annoncés et bien sûr les changements dans le processus comme vous nous avez dit aujourd'hui. Donc, merci encore. Et pour continuer, donc, ce soir, nous célébrons notre secteur avec les prix Innovation et Impact, dont un prix individuel et un prix organisationnel qui sont présentés par Coopération Canada, WUSC et les administrateurs du prix Lewis Perinbam. Vous vous souvenez sans doute que habituellement, nous décernons aussi le prix 40 ACAS à une championne de l'égalité des genres dans notre secteur. Donc, je vais inviter Julia Sanchez, qui est membre du comité de sélection 40 ACAS et ancienne directrice générale de Coopération Canada, à venir nous dire un mot sur le prix ou plutôt l'absence du prix cette année.
Thank you, Fanta. So, hello, everybody. As many of you know, Karen Takacs was a celebrated and cherished leader of the Canadian international community. She was also a dear friend and colleague to me, to all the other members of the selection committee, and to so many of you. We miss her so much. For over 20 years, Karen worked tirelessly to improve the lives and advance the rights of women and girls locally, nationally, and internationally. Karen a été un catalyseur de la collaboration dans le secteur international canadien. Karen a toujours été admirée pour sa capacité à motiver et à rassembler les gens autour d'une cause commune. Par ses encouragements, sa générosité et son humour surtout, Karen a su mobiliser et soutenir les autres. This includes her time as chair of the board of Coopération Canada during a very challenging time for the sector. When Coopération Canada, or CCIC as it was called at the time, had lost all its government funding and its members had to decide whether to come together to reimagine a leaner and self-funded structure or disband and call it a day. Karen's collaborative leadership was key in allowing us to still be here today as a vibrant and cohesive sector. Après le décès de Karen en 2015, nous avons créé chez Coopération Canada un prix pour honorer sa contribution inestimable à la lutte pour la justice sociale et économique et pour célébrer le leadership féministe et collaboratif unique dont elle a fait preuve tout au long de sa carrière. Since the inception of this award, we have honored 7 remarkable women leaders, including Karen herself. However, this year, the committee decided not to attribute the award since none of the candidates fully met the criteria. Does this mean that this journey is over? Is feminist leadership no longer a thing? Or is everybody doing it so it doesn't matter? We think not. Since Karen's passing, we have had some significant wins, starting with the Feminist International Assistance Policy and increased commitments to women and girls' rights, including SRHR. These wins were only possible because we worked together as a sector. Karen would so approve. But we've also seen women leaders and feminist leadership undermined and pushback on women's rights. Prime Minister of New Zealand's resignation recently is a poignant case. So we must continue recognizing, celebrating, and supporting feminist and collaborative leaders in our sector. The committee hopes to renew interest in the award next year, further affirming the necessity of a feminist and intersectional lens in everything we do in our sector. We do wish today to remind you of the amazing winners of the past years, to bring back to this stage the sheer force of each of these women. Past recipients include Rita Morbia from Inter Pares, Zaida Bastos, formerly with PWRDF, Liz Bernstein, founding director of Nobel Women's Initiative and co-founder of Ecology Ottawa, Beth Warrenuk of the Equality Fund and the Women's Peace and Security Network Canada, Kate McInturff, formerly the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives, Patricia Erb, formerly with Save the Children Canada, and of course, Karen Takacs herself. Pour la communauté canadienne du développement mondial, le prix Karen Takacs est un symbole de féminisme, de collaboration, de défense des droits, de mentorat et de résilience. Merci à tous et toutes pour votre soutien et à l'année prochaine. De retour à toi, Fanta.
Merci beaucoup, Julia, non seulement pour le rappel de l'histoire, mais de l'importance aussi du prix. So thank you so much for reminding us of the history and importance of this award. And thank you to the Karen Takacs Committee who continue to support this award process. We will now turn our attention to today's awards, the Impact and Innovation Awards. And for this, I will hand over to Chris Itten, who is the Executive Director at World University Service of Canada, so WUSC, and he will be introducing the individual award and this year's winner. Over to you, Chris.
Thank you, Fanta, and hello everyone today. Lewis Perinbam was a leader in Canada's global development efforts. Throughout his long career with organizations such as mine, WUSC, CUSO International, UNESCO, and the Canadian International Development Agency, what is now, of course, Global Affairs Canada, he was an innovator, a leader, a connector, and a mentor. The Innovation and Impact Awards in honor of Lewis Perinbam for individuals seeks to honor his legacy by recognizing a change maker residing in Canada who has demonstrated innovation, creativity, and impact in the field of global development. There were several exceptional nominees for this year's individual award, and though it was difficult to choose just one recipient, this year's winner stood out for their unique contributions in impact on our sector. An impact that, much like the work of Lewis Perinbam himself, will be progressively felt for years to come. Now, born in present-day Malaysia in 1925, Lewis Perinbam left his mark on the Canadian international cooperation sector during a pivotal time in its development. He helped shape Canada's global engagement, collaboration, and partnerships, just as many countries were navigating the end of formal colonial rule. And today our sector is once again at a pivotal moment. The recognition of the ways in which colonialism has been reproduced through present-day policies, programs, and operations have forced organizations in our sector to confront their own practices and determine what more they can do to decolonize development. This year's award winner is not just asking these difficult questions, but is leading their organization and our sector toward more inclusive and equitable futures for all. Now, this year's award winner is Brenda Arakaza, and Brenda is a gender, peace, and climate activist. Originally born in Burundi, she has lived, studied, and worked on 3 continents. And her studies in microbiology and biochemistry, years of experience in pastoral ministry, and participation in youth movements in many communities have given her a unique perspective in community building and systemic change. Brenda currently serves as the president of the National Council for Development and Peace, Caritas Canada, an international movement for solidarity that focuses on changing unjust social, economic, and political systems. She works to activate the organization's Canadian members, especially youth, in effective action for systemic justice, while advocating for dynamic partnerships for community change with the organization's 65 partners around the world. In this role, Brenda has demonstrated her deep commitment to the cause of decolonized development. Now, since taking on the role of president, Brenda has provided important leadership, particularly on 2 significant initiatives. She helped facilitate the reform of the organization's bylaws, and she oversaw their orientation assembly, a major event at which representatives from all stakeholder groups come together to discuss and inform the organization's strategic directions. And throughout this work, Brenda demonstrated that she was not only willing to ask difficult questions, but to listen and incorporate the responses she heard. Now, as I've said, this award recognizes innovation and creativity. And while initiatives such as bylaw reform may not be the first thing that comes to mind, the structures in which we live and work are ultimately what create the environments for innovation and inclusion to flourish or not. And Brenda's contributions on the National Council for Development and Peace, Coopération Canada, get at some of these deeply entrenched practices to ensure that their work is as accessible and inclusive as possible. I can't imagine a more appropriate change maker to honor Lewis Perinbam's legacy this year than Brenda. Congratulations, Brenda. And the floor is now yours if you would like to say a few words.
Merci beaucoup, Chris. Je pense que je suis vraiment honorée de recevoir ce prix-là. Pour partager avec vous mes sincères gratitudes, je voudrais vous parler un petit peu à quel point ce prix-là me tient beaucoup à cœur. Lorsque à mes débuts de 20 ans, j'étais une étudiante à l'université de Saint-Boniface. J'étais une volontaire attitrée de l'EUMC. Donc pour moi, c'est un moment qui vraiment clôture l'importance de mon implication, non seulement avec l'EUMC, de pouvoir recevoir ce prix-là, mais à quel point l'EUMC m'a appris énormément. Lors de mes accompagnements avec les jeunes étudiants réfugiés, j'ai marché avec eux, nouvellement arrivés dans la communauté, afin qu'ils apprennent notre campus, comment remplir les différents papiers. Ça a été pour moi le moment d'apprendre l'importance d'un véritable accompagnement et à quel point la présence de chaque personne est inoubliable. J'ai moi-même fui mon pays d'origine avec ma famille. J'ai été une nouvelle immigrante dans 3 différents pays, dans plusieurs villes et encore plus de systèmes scolaires et de nombreuses communautés. Je sais, comme n'importe qui d'autre, à quel point on peut se sentir isolé, sous-estimé et devoir toujours se reconstruire, que ce soit au niveau de mon cercle social, de ma mission et de ma vocation, et la raison de même de la vivre. Ma famille, pour moi, a été un point crucial. Ils ont été la pierre sur laquelle je me suis bâtie moi-même. Le certificat professionnel de ma mère n'était pas reconnu, mais sa mission de soigner les gens n'a jamais faibli. Sa chaleur, son travail acharné, son humilité au service des autres m'a formée. Mon père, un défendeur de la démocratie et de la paix, qui lui a même coûté la participation au niveau de nous, notre famille, notre sécurité, notre maison, notre capacité d'être ensemble même. Mais au grand jamais, il n'a laissé sa clarté de ses valeurs, sa capacité à établir des liens au-delà même des difficultés, des différences. Et une chose que je ne me rappellerai jamais, c'est son respect inébranlable pour les autres. Et ça me fonctionne encore jusqu'à aujourd'hui. Merci Chris pour cette belle introduction. En parlant du travail que j'ai fait dans mes études en microbiologie et biochimie, j'ai eu la chance et vraiment un plaisir d'accompagner tellement de jeunes dans le cadre du ministère paroissial. Mais j'ai aussi la chance de participer, d'animer, de faciliter des ateliers de réconciliation à travers plusieurs communautés à travers le Canada. Et je crois que ceci est la raison d'être qui m'a permis d'être une militante pour les causes sociales, environnementales, pour l'égalité du genre. Mais aussi, ça m'a donné la chance de pouvoir faire des présentations à travers le pays entier, de façon nationale, internationale, sur le racisme, les droits de la femme, le développement. Et ça m'a permis d'être qui je suis aujourd'hui. Mais je tiens surtout à reconnaître que tout ce travail dont j'ai fait, que ce soit rémunéré ou non, a été fait non pas pour une carrière, mais par mission. C'est une chose que mes parents m'ont inculquée. Ils m'ont appris que le parcours est plus important que le résultat. Ce n'est pas le projet, mais la relation avant tout. C'est la relation qui est au cœur de tous les changements. Et ce ne sont pas les institutions, mais les personnes qui y font partie. J'ai été nominée pour ce prix en raison de mon travail avec Développement et Paix, qui est non seulement une organisation, mais un mouvement démocratique de solidarité internationale. On soutient nos partenaires dans le Sud qui mettent en avant des alternatives aux structures socio-politiques, économiques injustes. À mes débuts des universités, j'ai découvert cette organisation. Et je peux vous dire que ce qui m'a séduit le plus a été l'approche du partenariat. Nous travaillons avec des organisations locales, des leaders locaux qui sont actifs dans leur communauté et nous les aidons à bâtir une communauté en renforçant leurs capacités. Depuis, non seulement ça, développer donne la chance à nous qui sommes ici, Canadiennes et Canadiens, à nous sensibiliser aux différentes causes de la pauvreté, à nous donnant une façon d'agir vraiment pour construire un monde qui est juste. So the past few years has been hard for all the organization. And I can say that crisis allow us to be creative at DNP. It allowed us to see things differently, to be forced out of our habit, and our sense of safety and really examining what is important to us. I have been told that I'm DNP's first youth president, if I may say this way, the first Black president, and maybe the first immigrant president. This is an uncomfortable innovation for me. It's a title that I don't want to hold because my existence is not the statement that I want to make. It is a reality that has caused many uncomfortable moments, many difficult conversations, but allows opportunity for growth. For me, integrity is the key. It is the key in the challenges we have been facing, not only as an individual, but also as an organization. And all of that has been centered to respect, love, openness, and courage. These past years as president has been a year of accompaniment for me. It was a year of learning, discernment, listening. It's been a year of working to ensure that we have the right people at the right table to have the right discussions. And I want to take this moment to coach one of the key person that have allowed me to grow, Dr. Lance Dixon, he's a race equality education consultant for the Catholic District School in Calgary. He taught us about inclusivity. He says, our group looks the way it does because we made it that way. That if we truly wanted them to be there will all be a place at a table for them. I am trying to learn how to make space at a table for those voices that we don't expect, the voice that can challenge us, the voice that help us to address the right question, but actually to keep us focused on our value and to ensure that the mission is at the centers of who we are. At Dell in Peace, we choose the team Create Hope for our next 5-year campaign. And that Create Hope was taken from the Pope Francis statement to social movement. He told us to have courage to create hope. This has been the call to me to have the courage to live my value in every relationship, every policy, every procedure, as much how hard it has been. It has been very much challenging to stay grounded in that missions of love. But the impact was tremendous to me. And I do want to say that I don't measure impact by the results. And I also want to think that I'm still too young yet, again, to see the final result anyway. But I want to say that I measure my impact on how we have lived the process. Was it with integrity? Was it with joy, courage? That we were focused on justice and love and peace in each aspect that we did. I don't know yet where this will take me. I certainly did not expect myself to be the president when I started getting involved in Dole and Peace. But for me, if we're building on respect, joy, inclusivity, this is the true meaning of innovation. And I will say this is the true meaning of impact. It is for us to be willing to go outside of our comfort zone, to listen to those new voices, to find the real path together. That is true impact. I also want to conclude this by saying the gratitude that I have to receive this award. It shows the importance that we have for young people to be present at decision making. I think when I'm accepting this prize here today for me, I am taking back for the youth movement part of Development and Peace, but for also all of the youth movement part of Coopération Canada, because it's not only important to be diverse in our procedure, diverse in how we do our work, but it's important to have that diversity part of the conversation. And I do want to say thank you very much for recognizing this important aspect to having youth being part of who we are. And I cannot say more how the gratitude that I have for WUSC and also to be the one sharing that nomination for me, because there is one of the first organization that has covered here in Canada. So thank you very much. And I'm very, very honored.
Thank you, Brenda, and I hope you will all join me in congratulating Brenda. Congratulations on the award and all of your work with youth on reconciliation and gender issues. Thank you for the reminder that, you know, all of the work that we do as a sector should really focus on true change and on people above all. And I will borrow your own words, as you said. Thank you for the reminder that, you know, as we do this work, we should keep the notions of integrity, of love, openness, and courage with us. So thank you again, Brenda, and congratulations. I'd also like to thank Chris for his introductions, as well as the team at WUSC and the trustees of the Lewis Perinbam Award for everything that you put into ensuring the success of this award. And we will now turn to the final award of the evening, the 2022 Organizational Impact and Innovation Award. And here to provide some background is a member of the Coopération Canada Board of Directors, who also sits on our board membership committee, Ms. Catherine Jenkins, who is the Managing Director at the Equality Fund. And over to you, Kat.
Thank you so much, Fanta. Hi, everybody. So nice to see you all today. So as Fanta said, I'm the chair of the membership committee of the Coopération Canada Board of Directors. And one of our responsibilities as a committee, which I think is probably the funnest thing we get to do each year, is pick the winner of the Organizational Impact and Innovation Award. This is always an interesting task. We get to receive nominations from across the sector and read up on all the innovative, impactful work that's going on. This year was really challenging, and I'll tell you why. Before I get to that, I would like to ground us in a common definition of innovation, which we at Coopération Canada base on the Whistler principles to accelerate innovation for development impact. And so that means to us, in terms of this award at least, an innovative practice is a new or more impactful means of or approach to addressing development challenges and improving the lives of the world's most vulnerable. An innovative practice can take many forms. It can be an innovation that is new to a particular context, but is tried and true elsewhere. And additionally, an innovative practice could be an approach, technology, business model, policy practice, partnership, or more. So that sort of gives you a bit of a sense of how we're thinking about innovation. And as a committee, what we're looking for when we're going through the nominations is evidence of inclusivity, of reaching scale through these innovations, sustainability in terms of the impact, as well as ongoing organizational practice in terms of integrating what's being learned through these innovations. So as I said, this year, we really had our work cut out for us. We received a record number of nominations, excuse me. And over the Christmas break, we read through them all very thoroughly, and we came together to discuss and decide who our winner would be. And we just couldn't do it. We couldn't pick one. And so we've got two. which I'm really happy to tell you about today. So first up, j'ai maintenant le grand privilège de vous présenter notre première lauréate du Prix organisationnel de l'innovation et de l'impact de 2022. Félicitations à Radio Rurale Internationale. 2 winners is an innovation. Yes, that's right. So while radio itself is not necessarily a 21st century innovation, farm radio's work only starts with radio. Alongside radio, they use other technologies like SMS and GIS mapping in really innovative ways. These technologies help radio stations get real-time feedback and turn radio into a two-way communication tool. What stood out to the committee was farm radio's ongoing commitment to gender equality, as well as lots of evidence of organizational learning and adapting innovations in an ongoing way. So to wrap it up, the sheer scale of their reach was really impressive. In their application, they told us that, in their nomination, they told us that they reached nearly 25 regular radio listeners in last year through their work. Je souhaite maintenant la bienvenue à Kevin Perkins de Radio Rurale Internationale qui accepte le prix au nom de son organisation. Kevin?
Well, thank you very much, Kat, for that wonderful news of the 2022 Innovation and Impact Award. The honor of that coming to Farm Radio. I'm sure there were many candidates that were considered, and it's a real honor, humbling honor. We're very excited and grateful for this. As you alluded during your introduction, at first blush, the name Farm Radio doesn't scream innovation. It's radio, and farm radio in particular are 100-year-old technologies now. And to use a famous Wayne Gretzkyism, it just doesn't seem like radio is where the puck is going to be. Seems like where it's been. And the question of impact, can radio programs really lead to change? Sure, they can disseminate information, but can you see an impact and a change? And what pleases me is the recognition through this award that indeed radio is, certain kinds of radio, at least with other technologies, is exactly where the puck is going, where the future is going, and it certainly has an impact. Innovation, as you were speaking of, Kat, is a product of many things. Invention, research, daydreaming, adaptation. One of the biggest drivers of innovation is what I call a mashup, mashing up different styles of music and art and thought to create something new and innovative. In fact, I would say that innovation is one of the great benefits, not the primary reason, but certainly a benefit for making a strong commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion by bringing people together inclusively and celebrating and encouraging diversity and equity creates all the more opportunities for innovation and learning and growth. In our case, we take good old radio and mix it up, put it in a blender with mobile phones, digital apps, and other tools to make what we call interactive radio. It's an exciting way to offer what we call dialogical communication services to millions. Services that not only distribute information to vast numbers of people in their own language, but engage isolated communities, marginalized groups in national conversations about critical issues like climate change adaptation, gender equality, and others. The programs have a measurable impact. Last year alone, of the 25 million regular listeners, we know of 5 million that actually were inspired by the programs of our partner radio stations to try something new on their farm, in their communities, in their families, in their homes. We also have seen the potential for radio-driven on-air dialogues to really capture the views and the perspectives of people that are hardly ever heard from otherwise, and bring those views to the attention of decision makers. Nothing that we do is possible, whether it's innovation or delivery of programs and projects, without partnerships. And we worked in close partnerships with many of the other organizations at Coopération Canada and elsewhere, partnerships with radio stations, obviously, but other groups too, civil society organizations, women's rights organizations, environmental climate action organizations, farmers organizations. We partner with them to really create platforms where conversations happen, knowledge can be exchanged, and progress can be made. So thanks again for this wonderful recognition. Congratulations to Brenda and to our co-winner as well. And many thanks to Coopération Canada and to the judges who I hope they didn't have to spend too much time over their Christmas holidays on this, but I'm grateful for your efforts as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin, and congratulations again to you, your team, and all your partners. It took us many, many meetings, many, many deliberations, many, many hours over our holidays. I'm just kidding. Okay, so on to the next awardee, which I'm really happy to share, is Justice Education Society of British Columbia. And before I pass it over to them, let me tell you a little bit about their work. So Justice Education Society of BC uses an intersectional, gender-sensitive, human rights, victim-centered, and trauma-informed approach. And they strengthen the capacity of justice professionals and institutions to be more efficient and respectful of victim rights, all while supporting local NGOs. And so one of the JES initiatives that we learned about as the selection committee that stood out as really innovative is called the Isabel Claudina Alert Module, also known as Guatemala's Missing Women's Alert. And so the technology of the alert is simple in its design, with links on social media platforms, a hotline number that folks can use in the event of a missing person. Where the innovation really lies is in the design and implementation of the rapid assessment, coordination, response, and search mechanisms used in this initiative. So JES also works to improve the capacity of institutional actors and support coordination amongst those actors, such as prosecutors, emergency responders, search groups, and government at all levels. And this coordination guarantees an immediate response for the prompt location and protection of women reported missing, and improves the responsiveness in locating these missing women within short timeframes like 24 to 48 hours. What stood out to us as a committee is JES's innovative approach to supporting vulnerable communities, in particular victims of violence, in pursuing justice, harnessing the full power of technology and partnership to reach these goals. I believe we have a video from JES featuring Sebastian Robinson, project director of this initiative in Guatemala. And following the video, we'll hear from Sonia Poulin to accept the award on behalf of her organization.
JES is thrilled to receive the Impact and Innovation Award this year, recognizing the impact of 3 of our projects in Guatemala in the fight against violence against women and sexual and gender-based violence. In recent years, JES made notable improvements in the prevention and response to these crimes in Latin America and the Caribbean region. One particularly innovative and impactful project has been the Guatemala Institutional Justice Strengthening Project and the technical support for Guatemala's Missing Women's Alert. Working with local partners, the Isabel Claudina Alert is now nationally recognized among society and justice sector institutions for locating missing women within 24 to 48 hours. Another impactful project is JES's design and creation of Guatemala's Victim Services Platform for Victims of Violence, Ayuda GT, funded by Global Affairs Canada. Designed in Spanish and 4 Mayan languages, the platform provides information and resources for vulnerable populations, including women, children, members of the LGBTIQ+ community, seniors, indigenous populations, and people with disabilities. Finally, Jess is currently implementing the Mujer Prospera project in collaboration with Fundación Sobrevivientes, fostering the economic empowerment of women survivors of violence in Guatemala, including trans women, indigenous women, and women with disabilities. These three innovative initiatives contribute to better justice for women, girls, and members of the LGBTI community in Guatemala and
Honorable Sanjan, membre du comité de sélection, distingués invités, collègues et amis. Bonjour, good afternoon. First, I would like to begin by acknowledging the Coast Salish peoples, including the territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations I'm speaking from today. On behalf of the Board of Directors and our entire team, I'm honored that the Justice Education Society has won this year's prestigious Organizational Innovation and Impact Award, presented by Coopération Canada and World University Service of Canada. Lewis Perinbam was a pioneer within the sphere of international development, and Jess is gratefully accepting this award, which is given in the spirit of his legacy to organizations that are enhancing innovation and fostering impact through targeting some of the world's most prescient challenges. As with Perinbam, Jess has been working on sustainable global development solutions for several decades through our unique approach of connecting Canadian and international expertise in the justice sector to local and international initiatives. As a nonprofit organization with over 30 years of experience, we have been at the forefront of increasing people's legal capability and strengthening justice systems in Canada and around the world. Notre contribution à l'international a débuté avec notre expertise en éducation et information juridique en Afrique pour ensuite collaborer sur tous les thèmes du secteur de la justice à travers le monde. As mentioned by my colleague Sebastian, our programs in Guatemala are some of the initiatives Jess has led, and particularly our focus on improving gender justice in Latin America through local partnerships and pedagogical model that has been designed in the spirit of providing sustainable, innovative solutions to vulnerable populations. All of this, of course, is not possible without the generous contributions of our funders, such as Global Affairs Canada, their staff at home and abroad, as well as our outstanding experts, consultants, and incredible staff at Jess. As a leader in the justice sector, Jess has successfully implemented more than 100 justice-centered projects in over 19 countries, working closely with local stakeholders and organizations to advance the rule of law and increase access to justice for all. Jess currently has programs and offices in Canada, Guyana, Guatemala, Honduras, and Panama, and also works in Costa Rica, Colombia, and El Salvador. Innovation has always been at the core of our work in Canada and internationally. And for this reason, we are thankful for the selection committee for recognizing our long history of impact in the justice sector. Finally, I would like to congratulate our colleagues at Farm Radio International for your award and for your incredible, powerful, and impactful work in Africa. Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sonia, and congratulations once again to both Farm Radio International and the Justice Education Society of British Columbia for their amazing work. I hope you will all join me in congratulating and celebrating their inspiring work. And thank you once again as well to Coopération Canada's membership committee for their involvement in these awards. And now, to close off our ceremony, I'd like to invite Kate Higgins back up to the virtual podium to close us off. Kate, over to you.
Merci, Fanta. Thank you, everyone. It's been such a wonderful hour with all of you. I'm so thrilled to be sharing this space with you and so inspired by the awardees and the incredible, impactful and innovative work that you're all doing. So Thank you all so much for being here. A huge thank you to Fanta for being a fantastic MC. Thank you all for your collaboration, your cooperation, your engagement with us at Coopération Canada. It's such an honor and privilege for us to work with so many incredible members across this country, and you inspire us and motivate us every day. So with that, I will wish you all a wonderful evening, afternoon, wherever you are. Merci beaucoup. Let's raise a glass to all the winners. Félicitations. And I will end by wishing you all a happy International Development Week. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you.
À tout le monde, merci beaucoup.
Bye, merci.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for joining us again.
And thank you to our amazing interpreter, as usual.